Everyone, thank you so much for joining today's session. My name is Carrie. I am with HireRigh, and I am going to conduct a training session that is going to be kind of a twofold session. We're going to first focus on background screening and then I-9. Meaning that most of you have been using the system for a bit, and there was just a need for some training. Maybe you weren't initially offered training, so hopefully we'll show you some things that you know, some new stuff, and also just really give you the opportunity to ask questions. If you don't have questions, you can have your phone on mute. We're really going to focus on getting started with HireRigh, making sure that you're set up for success. This portion of the training is going to relate to background screening, so we'll go through some things, but some more specific things. So suggestions prior to placing your order. That's applicant engagement, making sure that they know what process is going to be. Then how to place your new order using HireRigh. We have to go through the applicant's experience. If you have any questions about what the applicant may go through or just want to see what that looks like, you'll have the opportunity to do so. Then we're going to go into some details related to processing. So what happens once HireRigh receives your order? And then results. And this is where we'll take a look at some sample results as well as address adjudication.
You need to know.
So ordering, it's to set expectations. What to expect from HireRigh? Your applicant may not know that you have an outside party that is going to conduct the background screen and verification. Screening requirements will always require the applicant's full name, current physical address, and at least a date of birth, if not the social. Additional requirements could be based on services that are ordered, so we'll take a look at your packages. Sometimes an ink-signed consent form, or even a copy of diploma, pay stubs, or even a release form for a specific service from time to time, like a statewide criminal check, motor vehicle check, and so on. They understand that, we're really trying to set up the process quickly and easily so they can complete all the information and requirements, and HireRigh will only reach out to them for additional needs. Now we're through a demonstration. Place a new order in your account. Right on over to that account. The Partners Healthcare Parent account. You may be accessing a different account. So right here, there's a full list of different locations available. So depending on which location you support, you'll be logging into a different account than the parent account. But when logged into the account, this is the home page. On the left, you're going to find that there's a HireRigh logo, and directly below is a search.
Are you on the HireRigh page?
So with HireRigh account, there is a search option. So if you need to ever search for an order that's already been placed or an invitation sent, we can always do a search. Also, in the same menu, I just want to point out help and training. This is a quick way to get in touch with our live help team and self-support materials. So if you need assistance at a later time and refer to a video or a user guide, go to training and documentation, and there you'll find everything you need. Scroll down, and there are additional reference materials related to not only background, but I-9, E-Verify, and general reference. So just click the New Order button. There are packages available in your account will load. A pull menu will supply you the specific packages. So when I click on the basic package, the package details show me that it's going to be either including a criminal felony misdemeanor, so security number validation and trace, a national sex offender registry, and the widescreen plus national criminal search check. All of those services will be included in the order if I click next. If not the services I wish to order, perhaps I need employment verified as well. I select a package which I think will meet my needs and then confirm that that is in fact what I need. So some details are always visible, or details once you select the package. Next, I myself or email applicant. Email applicant is really the way to go. In fact, some of the accounts are defaulted to only offer this setting. Emailing the applicant will require the applicant's first name, last name, and an email address. Will allow you to immediately send an email to an applicant where they can securely use the online form. Text message will provide a full 10-digit number, clickable text message, and the candidate will also receive a text letting them know that they've been invited to this process. Okay. I won't be able to show you a mobile phone access, but this will give them mobile access. So if they want to follow that text message and access directly through a mobile device, they can do that as well. So a home computer is not necessary. And what you need to do is click Next to send that email. But if you do want to send yourself a copy, just click Send me a copy of this email. When clicked, the invitation is sent. So in just a moment, we're going to have a screen point out that the invitation was sent, and we can start monitoring that progress from the Screen Manager dashboard. It says on text message, invitation has been sent to the candidate, which contains a link to the background verification form. That invitation under the tab entitled Invitations. So be able to track things all the way from the stage where the person has been invited into the process, all the way to in progress, adjudication or pending decision, and completed. Of course, something is canceled. We'll also host a canceled tab here so you can view that. Things you may not be aware of, in addition to the more options pulled down, you can right-click, or if you double-click, it opens up the next level of detail. Because we've just sent an invitation, there's not much we're going to see, so we'll double-click once we put this order in progress. The Social Security number field, a lot of real estate on the page. So you can use the icon on the right to enable or disable anything. I can add or remove any fields that I think are going to be helpful. So if I'm told some participant names, and let's say that Rhonda wants to be able to view in one way, but when Sally logs in, she also wants to know what package is ordered. So you can add or remove each user logging in and having it set to their own standards. And then if I click Maximize, I can package or I can see things that have been added or removed. I have to use Maximize. I can also scroll back or forth. Or one other thing, you can rearrange. You'll notice, for instance, that there's a column here that says Type. Well, I know I initiated a background request. So I click and drag this to the far right because I don't really need to see it. I can see pretty much everything's page when I access the dashboard. So feel free to, make this your own so that it's easy for you to just log in and see exactly the details that you want to see for each candidate that you're screening. Any questions so far about ordering or modifying this home page to meet your needs for managing your orders? Okay, so let me go ahead and access that email. I do want to take you through the process. Okay, experience is going to be like so. Let's take us over that. Number 4, we gotcha. see now. We want to go ahead and share this information. Here's that I've just sent to myself. So I'm going to walk through just as if I were an applicant again. I also chose the text option. So a text also went out to let me know that this email is here to start the background screening process. The subject is going to refer to Partners Healthcare, so you can let them know the division name or the account that you log into, that will be the subject line. The applicant's going to use this information to access and complete. On verification, they can click continue anyway. Applicant logs in, we inform them that there's 3 distinct phases. The first phase is getting the information or the form completed. The second is the verification process, and the third is the report view. This is where the applicant is just going to be asked to reset the password. So before they provide any sensitive or confidential information, they're going to reset their password. I'm going to just remove this information. I don't really need it in there. But if they did want to receive contact from HireRigh for anything additional, they could also agree to that. So in text, it's only one. Instructions, making sure that they have all their details handy, readily available in case they need to fill in anything else. We have a video right there. I didn't go ahead and play it, but it's just a brief video on what HireRigh does as far as education employment verification. Sure. Order form. Now, the question just asked, let me just check that question. Someone asked about Taleo. No, we're not really going to be going through Taleo. Today really was more of a go through HireRigh and cover these processes. If the agent had gone through or had been invited through Taleo, this information would be mostly filled in. So this is still the same applicant experience.
Hey, Carrie.
Yes.
Hi, this is Bonnie Wells. Long time no speak. I hope you're doing well. I wanted to kind of chime in regarding the Taleo question, and I'm sorry, I feel like there was a miss because we were trying to confirm with Maya that we would go through the Taleo process. So it's all possible. If you're not set up to do it, I totally understand, but it's all possible. You can kind of discuss the connections between Taleo and HireRigh. I think that would be great for people on the call.
Okay, and before you go away, because I can totally shift gears and do just that. So, thanks for chiming in. I also had some different information, but I just want to confirm that you're using Taleo Recruit for your background screening?
Versus?
Like positions or business edition?
Taleo Recruiting, sorry.
Okay. So let me get that up, and absolutely. Thanks for
Yeah, thank you for being flexible on that, and I hope others on the call find that useful because we really are trying to have people kick off their checks from Taleo.
Perfect. Yeah, and there's some advantages for doing that as well. Let me see if I have my most recent one right here. Probably work just fine. Let me bring this up. Thanks for your patience while we get this loaded. We cover it. There are definitely some advantages for using Taleo, both for your organization, of course, but also, let me give it one more try. It's telling me it's not responding. Opening. Okay. Right. So, for those who do use Taleo, the screen that I'm showing should be familiar to you. in the sense that it would be the home page when you log into Taleo. You may have some branding that's in there, or listing of candidates that are already visible if you're a current user. But basically what this does is gives you the capability to either click positions or candidates anywhere across the tabs in the top, using any shortcut tools through the home page. And there's also a search option. So that search option has a pull down, so you can use candidate by default or use the pull down arrow and change it to requisition. We look at the requisition. There'll be a number to the left of the requisition, and this is really representing the number of candidates that are associated with that requisition. They may have applied, and you can see what stage they're in. Clicking on that's going to give you a list of candidates. If you go directly to candidates listed under the requisition, just find the specific candidate that you want to do a background check on and click on their name. So that's actually an active hyperlink that opens it up into the process. Links. And then once that applicant's information is open, there's a profile. So this job submission tab hosts all sorts of information from the applicant, whether it's an uploaded resume, if you have an application they complete, it stores all that information in there. And when you're ready to do the background check, use the more actions in the pull-down menu allows you to request a screening service. I came through about Taleo. When you get to the Taleo portion, I have a question. When we launched Taleo, I had no issue using HireRigh. In the last 3 months, I cannot launch the HireRigh invite from Taleo. So I am not sure, but we can definitely submit a ticket to it. Like you have an ATS support group that's looking into that. Generally, that's going to be something that relates to your setup. So that's usually the first thing that we want to do is just make sure that you're still set up, that nothing broke. You know, maybe if you reset a password, did you also make any other changes to your user profile that may keep it from logging in? So I'll go ahead and take your name down and look into that. Thank you.
Sorry, if I can just quickly chime in, it's Kendra Coppathorne. So we've actually been pushing on HireRigh a lot for this exact issue, and we've checked all of the reference IDs associated. We've sent multiple examples. I believe we have 1, maybe 2 tickets open currently. So I can also follow up with you on that as well to kind of connect all of those dots and get everything together on that.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So really the stage that is probably failing is on this next screen. So when you do request a screening service, what should happen is a pop-up window appearing over your candidate's profile. And this is where employment screening provided HireRigh should show as available services. First, if this screen doesn't pop up, make sure your pop-up blocker has allowed it or been enabled for the HireRigh system. If employment screening provided by HireRigh is already pre-selected, all you need to do is click Done. What it's going to do at that point is connect you to the HireRigh interface. So this is where the connection is not occurring at that point. Just point a clarification from the person who asked the question. Okay, thanks. It helps me be able to describe it to our technical team. What should be happening is you should be directed to the HireRigh account. And if I go over to the account here, am I sharing my whole desktop? Maybe not. What I should be doing when you use Taleo, let's think about where I want it to go right now. Sorry about that. I think I used on which page I want to show, so I just stopped it for one moment until we get it. Right, okay. Like we are having a little connectivity issue even here right now. It's trying to connect. Manager sometimes just saying something that I don't need. Oh, let me. That might work. Waiting for it to connect. Volume issues. Let's move on with that. The PowerPoint's going to need to be reopened. So 1 second. First, we're recording all of this. The screen that we saw a moment ago in HireRigh. It's going to take you, it's going to drop you in the HireRigh homepage. You have to click New Order. It's basically saying, I'm clicking New Order for you. And what it's going to do is take the information that's already gathered on the applicant and pre-fill the order form. So that means that the applicant's not going to have to put more time and effort into filling that information out again. They're simply going to be able to review it, make any edits if necessary. Of course, they're going to complete required fields. So if there's any additional fields that they haven't completed yet, they'll need to do it at that time. This will open back up for us here. So applicant gets into the online form, instead of having to complete all of the requirements, they'll find that most of it is filled in. Just opening up. I like to call it radio. Really? Hopefully lose the WebEx. That's the most important thing. Everyone still seems to be connected and seeing the PowerPoint loading, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. So we're in business here. So let's pick up where we left off as far as sending the email. What we did was locating the candidate in Taleo using more actions within their profile to request that connect to HireRigh, and then you select the appropriate package. You select whether the applicant will complete it or you. And again, some accounts may only have a email applicant option, or that's the preferred. And then sending the email or submitting the applicant information. If you do have an applicant that cannot complete it and you need to start the process, you know, and most of the information is pre-filled. So if you're able to do so, it's not much information. So let's go through the applicant requirements. We saw the previewed email, but when they go in, they will go through the series of login details and then complete any required fields. So their first name, last name, email, things like that are going to be in there, their address, all of that from Taleo. But this is where we're going to ask, is this your full name, including a middle name, or do you not have one? is where we can capture other names. It's also going to ask, oh, it looks like it's going to jump around too. It's also going to ask things such as, you know, is this your current employer? So if we're verifying employment, is it a current employer? May we contact them? If do not have the number of employers, say you order 3 employers and the applicant says, well, gosh, I only have 2, what am I supposed to do? There is a not applicable, which will make them certify that they do not have a previous employer to provide. So all of those things are really going to be collected at that stage through the process, making sure that we have their date of birth and things to proceed with the background check. That's really kind of the goal of that applicant process of them being involved. Applicants' consent, so all disclosures and consent requirements are done online as well. We'll check off the 2 statements before clicking accept and submit, and HireRight's going to email them a copy of the document they sign. About the applicant's process that we did address in this little overview here. Complete the process, they can, you know, visibility whether it's in progress or completed. They can also go back into the Applicant Center to provide any additional information requested by HireRigh. They will not be able to go in and make any changes to the information once they do submit. Any other requirements, HireRigh will reach out to them directly and ask for that information. So that's pretty much in a nutshell the process of going through. I want to take us through Talia. I'm going to just kind of jump ahead. And it will be used for monitoring the screening. So going back, as I said, we jumped ahead. So once you get a confirmation that the email or the screen has started, and that will be a notification by email to the person who initiated the order in most cases, you can go back to that candidate's profile. So you're going to open up the candidate, whether you search or locate them in another way. And that same tab we were in initially, the job submission tab that we saw, we used more actions to initiate a background check. I'm going to use the screening section, and it may not be listed as the 3rd item. Typically, it is labeled screening. You know, you can expand or collapse any of these sections. So screening is expanded, everything is collapsed. Section is going to show the current status of the order, and clicking details will take you into further viewing options. So details is over on the right. When you click on it, it'll take you in there. Now, just as far as in a general sense, when the order is completed, if it's pending adjudication or pending review in a final status setting, it is going to show that the report is completed. You'll receive a notification, but it's going to show in the results summary that adjudication result set pending. Once it's been reviewed, the final status will update and appear here. So as those things occur, whether it's by yourself or another individual, they are instantly updated in Taleo. Here's an example of what it would look like completed. As far as clicking details, this is going to give you a summary status of the order that's placed, who placed it, turnaround times, number of products. So it's going to list out each and every product, and whether for criminal check. For location we checked, it's going to say criminal, felony, misdemeanor, and whether or not a record was found. It's going to show employment for every employer. Whatever was included in the order, it's going to show those items, whether pending or completed. At the bottom of the page, there are 2 links, and these links are going to be relied upon to view the order details that HireRigh has returned through the report, or to access HireRigh directly. So if you have several orders that you need to view, can choose the second one and view both of your orders at the same time, rather than having to navigate through Taleo to find them. This link, view the background screening report details and adjudicate a completed report. Second one will take you to the screening manager to view multiple applicants. If you do just go right to the report, if there's anything that was needed in the process, whether it's in progress or complete, there's an information needed section that's added. This may be seen very often with this as you're ordering, but if there is something from time to time that we have to request, we will post it in this information needed. This gives you direct access to reply or respond directly through that applicant's report. It also gives you visibility whether or not they have responded to HireRigh. So you or the applicant can provide documentation or response to the report. Further down, you can see product details. Over summary showing here, it wanted to see what specific details were in the report. I can just place my mouse over it and it's going to give me a little pop-up summary of those details. Now at the top, there are options in each and every report for adjudicating a completed report, accessing live chat. So by a report, you can access HireRigh's support team, and compliance letters. That would be pre-adverse and adverse action letters. If you do need to view those, they're under the letters pull down. This is the screening manager. It's going to take you to that home page. So where we really started at the beginning of this session, focusing on the background screening, is taking you to that screening manager. You can change those filter settings and be able to view all the orders you place, and by double-clicking, to see the details in those reports. I want to stop here and see what types of questions you may have that we're not covering, things that you're more concerned about related to this, so that we cover, now that we've kind of gone through the basics, that we're going to cover something that is definitely relevant to what you hope to get out of today's session. So everyone's comfortable with the background screening through Taleo, and what happens after that process begins?
Yep.
Appreciate a confirmation, and I will be distributing details that will assist. Now, before we go into the actual processes that we're going to address with I-9 and E-Verify, point out that, again, each and every account has that help and training menu. So if you do happen to go into HireRigh for, background screening results, have access to live training and documentation, and HireRigh University as well. And the university is set up more specifically for e-learning courses. Looks may not be a full-fledged user, but I have my own HireRigh account that I can quickly access. Access to the university here. The purpose of the university is to give you more in-depth information. You may have a very, some of you on the call may have a very straightforward screening process where we're just do sex offender registries, social trace, social validation, and criminal checks. Some of you, however, may have multiple processes. So we do offer things like understanding HireRigh's background screening process, one that's called How We Verify Applicant and Employee Data. Higher level user, using some of those tools that are in the HireRigh account for reporting purposes or managing your users. So we do have reference materials that are in here for everyone. Some of the things that you'll access through help and training in HireRigh. In addition, I'll follow up with a job aid. We do have job aids that specifically address the Taleo integration so that, you know, if you don't have anything to refer to, it's just a couple pages and it kind of takes you step by step through those items. Okay. The next thing we really need to focus on is I-9. And again, I want to confirm whether I-9 is being initiated through the Taleo system or the HireRigh system, because both can be done.
Aren't being processed through Taleo at this point. They're handled separately, and not every affiliate is on the HireRigh I-9 product at this point.
Okay, perfect. So, to address that, HireRigh, if you do manage any I-9 or E-Verify processes, HireRigh has kind of combined these processes. There would be a separate account from the background account that you would have access to, and there is an I-9 form section that's accessible on the left menu. Now, to kind of take us through this, you do have several options. So we'll manage I-9 forms. Click on I-9 forms. It is going to be manage I-9 forms, and let me make this larger. We really need to see something better. Again, I-9 forms in HireRigh, manage I-9 forms, and it opens up this dashboard. This dashboard is equipped with all of the specific tabs that are needed to process this, whether it's been sent to an employee, and I know the larger this is, the harder it is to see the full words, but completed I-9s and so on. For E-Verify checks, if there's anything that requires additional steps, there are specific tabs to kind of parse out if there's a duplicate that needs to be addressed, and so on. Now, I-9 form processes. The is used to either invite the employee, to upload a paper I-9 form, or use a kiosk link. A little bit backwards on this one. When I kiosk, to give me the opportunity to either save this as a desktop shortcut. So if I use this, it's going to feed all I-9 forms back into this account. So this is your company ID. So all of the I-9 forms that are completed using this will be in that account. What this does is allows the employee to register. So if you have, some people have tablets and the new hires come in and are sat down and complete this information. Like this for the employee. Required to register themselves as a user, provide a first name, a last name, and to create a username that will be used to complete the I-9. So just something unique. They can email address, but they don't have to type in their whole email address. Again, we're looking for a unique user ID, a password that is at least 8 characters long with upper and lowercase letters, and at least a number. And enter the verification code. That's it. The employee is immediately directed to the I-9 form and can complete it. The thing about the kiosk is that, again, all I-9 forms are completed electronically, and that link that we were just looking at, this link is a reusable desktop shortcut. So you create the shortcut on a desktop, and it can be used by every employee. One after another, they can line up and complete it. Each time that shortcut is accessed, it takes them to that registration page. New hires that are going to come on board and you only give them access to work, not personal email, like HireRigh, you can say, hey, welcome to HireRigh. On your first day, you're going to have an email. We've set you up with an email account already. So what we're going to have you do is log into Outlook and email waiting there. So you also email it if you like, but yes, this does give 2 modes of access. And add again, if there is no connectivity, if a paper form needs to be completed for any reason, the upload I-9 form for new employees will allow you to not only upload the I-9, but to create an E-Verify case. So that the E-Verify check system receives the I-9 information and informs you if everything is a match, that the employment is authorized. If there's a mismatch, there will be steps to take that are recommended to resolve the status. But information off the I-9, the paper I-9 can be keyed in, and then everything can be tracked and managed online going forward. So even if a paper I-9 was the start, that doesn't mean it's going to be how it's always managed. Customers are either using kiosk electronically or invite employee. If you use invite employee, that is going to allow you to invite the employee, first name, email address. Start optional but recommended. By putting a start date in there, that's going to ensure that the employee is going to get reminders. The Section 2 person will get a reminder, you know, the date's coming up, don't forget to complete the I-9 form. So it's making sure that things happen on time. Their invitation letter. So just like the background screen, there is a written email that goes to the employee. And all your additional fields, group, and visa type can all be entered in here as well. You submit with a red asterisk are required fields, so you'll always need to be prepared for group and visa type. Anything that to add here, Kenny? There's 3 options to have the employee complete the process. Now you see here, I'm in your live account, and there are 2 employees who've been invited to the process. Here's the date of the invitation, and there are other columns over here that are kind of running off, you know, visa type or employee ID or any of those other items here. Once they complete the I-9 form, it's going to be moved to the Pending Employer tab. Okay, so that's really where everyone's going to come in and complete Section 2. Alt will be all users last 90 days. That ensures that no matter how the completed the I-9 form, it is visible, and the most recent 90 days are here. Don't forget, all your HireRigh accounts have a search option. So if I am looking for something that is beyond a specific time frame, I could, or I was not finding it, I don't know what status it's in, I could search for it. I go through this information for I-9. We'll cover completing Section 2. Taleo, but HireRigh. We'll open that. Those of you are going to be involved, or quite a few of you, not all of you, but quite a few of you will be doing the I-9 portion. Will you also be involved in the E-Verify check process? Maybe for the accounts, the E-Verify check process will occur automatically, so it's not something you need to do to initiate, but there may be tasks afterwards that you're required to do that relate to saying this document requires a photo match. So match may, in fact, inform you, keep a copy of the document and make sure that the steps are completed that you're going to be prompted to complete. Here. It's a lot better now. Everyone seeing the presentation? Who's not, please let me know. Right. So going into the account, you will need to open up the I-9 Forms dashboard by clicking I-9 Forms and then selecting Manage I-9 Forms. The Pending Employer tab is where you those employees that require Section 2 completion. So within the first 3 days of their start, that's when you're going to have to complete Section 2. The employee can complete Section 1 anytime prior to the start date. So, you know, it's really just completing the I-9 form that's going to be on you for time frame. The employee, if you don't find it in here, again, make sure that the filters are set to all users last 90 days. It should be within the last 90 days that it was initiated. And if you can't find it, you can always go back to Sent to Employee and send them an email or Kiosk. Again, Kiosk is for that immediate, you know, we're going to sit you down and have you complete this I-9 form right away. The person's name, the menu of options becomes active or available to you. Otherwise, it's going to be grayed out as an option until you select a record. And or right-click, give you the same menu, and verify I-9 docs. And a lot of times you're going to find that the next action to take is at the top of the menu. As the Section 2 compare, you are looking at the I-9 form. Does everything look to be in order? Is their name matched to the documents you have in hand? If click Next. If no, then it's a correction process. So if you correct something, close the I-9. And verifying I-9 docs, you're going to do Correct I-9 form. And it allows you to send it back to the employee. You can indicate why. So it may, you know, please enter your name as it appears on your ID provided. Next, it takes you right into the I-9 form. You have access to resources that will help you complete the I-9 form. There may be documents you're not familiar with, so it will show you how to determine the issuer or what information has to be put in the I-9. What if someone brings you a receipt? So all of those links are on the left. It does to list A, but if you want B and C, just select B and C, and always review instructions, because this is going to let you know if there's any next steps or requirements related to both I-9 and E-Verify, because it does occur in one single action. It makes sure that you are being reminded of things like list documents, have to have a photo if you're participating in E-Verify, which partners is. So to make sure that you're remaining compliant. There is a document that's provided that doesn't match citizenship. You will receive a message. And just completing the process, there are call-outs to make sure that the document title, so if you select driver's license and state, it should pre-fill the document title. But if that's not a match, you can change it before selecting, I certify the document title as a match. Same issuing authority. We're going to ensure that you're checking off these things so that you know that the accuracy of the information is absolute. And then either entering or confirming the employment start date. This is also going to reduce typing. So anyone who doesn't really love to type, we have, you know, a click use today's date. Your user information is going to pre-fill, unless it was done with a kiosk. Then you'll have to fill in some of your information, but the business address is going to be in there. Move from the worksheet and click Proceed. You'll see the electronic I-9 form and scroll down to complete the form. So enter your name, draw your signature. So you don't have to draw your signature, but you will have to check off the 4 statements before you click E-Sign, Save and Run E-Verify. And in doing that, it is going to connect with E-Verify, so you'll get this temporary processing result, a final status. So your confirmation indicating you've created I-9 successfully, and then what the outcome of the E-Verify check was. This will either be employment authorized or tentative non-confirmation. Here for a second and see if there are any questions related to completing Section 2 or initiating the E-Verify check process. Okay, I do have some shortcut settings in here. In addition to, the outcomes here, you can click View E-Verify Report. If there's a tentative, click View E-Verify. That's going to let you immediately go in and print the notification to present to the employee. If you upload documents, if there's documents you need to keep, you can immediately upload, or you can do that later. It's for the PDF version, locate it, upload it, and refresh. And so make sure that you don't have a non-secured file that is on your desktop. You'll definitely want to make sure that you remove that. To upload documents, but want to do so, all at once. Maybe you have a whole bunch of employees that have documents. You can always go back, go to Completed tab where the I-9 form is located for those authorized employees, and select Manage Supporting Documents, and then walk through those same steps. Tab is authorized statuses. Anything was tentative. Once it's been finalized as an authorized, it will move over there. So you may see, for instance, some of these examples showing SSA authorized or DHS employment authorized. Anything else is going to be in the appropriate E-Verify. Required of you if the employment is authorized, if that's the final status. There are actions required related to pending information review. If you get that prompt, it's asking you before E-Verify check concludes to review everything. It's already determined that there was probably a typographical error. It could be that just letters are transposed, and it's going to come back with a tentative. So it's giving you the opportunity to review something. And if there's some error that you can catch and fix, that's going to prevent you from having to take the steps to go through a tentative non-confirmation process with your employee. Tentative non-confirmation, that doesn't mean that the person's not authorized to work, but definitely have to present additional information to the Social Security Administration or DHS to resolve the status and move forward with getting an authorized status. Photo match is only for certain list A documents. You would be prompted to compare the photo in the document the employee provided to the photo screen. So addressing photo match, for instance, after a specific document is provided, a prompt appears asking you to indicate whether or not it's a match. An email will follow with instructions of what to do next. Managing a tentative, if you do get a tentative, you only have 3 days to let the employee know about a tentative. So you may be running those things and choose to let them know, but want them to go through an employee orientation before you have them take any actions. So notification within 3 days, but they will still have 8 days to begin the process. All the employee needs to do is choose whether or not they're going to contest or not contest. The report is where you can access the report and the letters. So letters to be printed either in English or Spanish. The first action notice lets them know that they have the choice to contest or not contest. They'll designate how they're going to proceed, and you give them a copy. You keep the original. An E-Verify report will designate that employee referral is required. So in order for them to continue employment, they must choose to contest and follow the referral instructions, which the referral date information and instructions come next. So choose to contest, they get referred. Choose not to contest, you have a case. events, that means that you're most likely terminating the person, and there will be no additional steps to update this record. You can referral letter as well. Here's a list of most common types of documents that are uploaded. There happens to be a status that's returned as employment authorized. There's further action. That's your final status. The final non-confirmation that comes back, you must close the case. By referring an employee, HireRigh will automatically ping the E-Verify check system looking for a result. This will occur several times throughout the day. So we're looking for a result for you, and you can always check back into the account to look for that result. It can take a couple of weeks because the employee has 8 days to begin the process, and then after that, the record has to be in that system and pushed back through HireRigh account. That you have or may have experience with E-Verify check that you'd like to ask? Section 3 to even the electronic I-9 form, this is used for re-verifications of employee information. That you would complete Section 3 is if a legal name change occurs while you have the record on file, and you just have it consistent with payroll and benefits information. If you hire someone within 3 years or less when the original I-9 form was completed, you can update Section 3 with new information. So if you have people seasonally who return, you can use Section 3 going forward. And work authorization. If someone has temporary work authorization and it is expiring, the document has to be provided by that employee to continue their employment with your company. And that is probably commonly the most used reason for Section 3 completion. If the record is over 90 days, and search is the best way to locate it, be sure you're looking at something that says I-9, not E-Verify, when you right-click to access Re-Verify. And that's going to open up Section 3 and allow you to make those updates. Get updated with either the name, date of rehire, or the documentation, the current documentation that is being provided for any other purposes. You click Proceed to Form I-9 completion, and the record is updated in your account. That's it. Other things you can do from time to time, you can go to start or termination dates. We correct I-9, but there are other things you can do. Term date can also be manually, submitted in large batches. So if you do have a high turnover, some organizations do provide an annual list where we put those termination dates in. And really the purpose of that is a termination date can drive when the I-9 form is eligible for deletion. It doesn't mean that it's required to be deleted. HireRigh allows the administrative users of the organization to manage those processes. And self-support resources, just scroll through to the I-9 section for I-9 and E-Verify, information, frequently asked questions, management report tools, and even our quick reference guide. If you are managing E-Verify cases and need a little more assistance, we do have an e-learning course that you can take that goes through various scenarios of types of E-Verifies you may have to manage. Then you have other resources to access recordings. Things that you really want to know today, some things that have not been covered yet, and through your experience you have questions about. have any questions that have been submitted to me. Just want to see if anyone else has something they'd like to interject. Perhaps Kendra or Bonnie, you have something else you'd like to add to this before we end our session today. I'm not hearing from them. I will be following up, however, with our account manager on the activity issue that has been mentioned and look to connect with Kendra to get specific details on other users as well. So thank you everyone so much. I do wish you a happy Friday and a very happy holiday next week. Have a great day. Bye-bye.